Welcome back. So we are gearing up for Mega Monday, and the cues have been very, very positive. Global cues very benign, and of course we're looking at the all-important exit poll outcome as well. Let's now talk about a couple of stocks, individual stocks that will be in focus because of weekend news flow. Starting off with auto sales, lots of numbers have trickled in. Sudarshan is tracking them for us. Sudarshan, morning. How do they look?
So morning, Subhi. So before I go to specific companies, let me talk about the overall trend. So for the month of May, the trend was mixed. Overall sales in the month of May have moderated after strong sales that we had seen in the month of April. Passenger vehicle sales have seen a moderation, while commercial vehicles and tractors have seen an improvement. Even two-wheeler sales have seen a slight moderation. Now coming to company specific, starting with Maruti, sales have missed estimates and are lower year-on-year. Total sales are down 2% year-on-year at 1.74 lakh units, and domestic sales were higher while exports have dipped. Domestic sales are up 4% and exports have dropped 34%. Now coming to M&M, it's a mixed trend. Passenger vehicles have come in below estimates, while tractor has outperformed. Total auto sales were up 17% year-on-year, while total tractor sales were up 9%. And company says forecast of above normal monsoon has improved sentiment and land preparation activities for kharif crops to boost tractor demand. Tata Motors, I'm going with red, as total sales were 2% higher but have missed estimates by 6%. Electric vehicle sales have dropped 4%, while passenger vehicle and commercial vehicle sales were up 2% each. Ashok Leyland, total sales have risen 12% year-on-year, and it was 1% higher than estimates. Both MNHCV and LCV sales were up 12% each as well. Escorts, I'm going with green just because of healthy outlook. Total sales were down 6% year-on-year, but company says it sees an improvement in demand post-southwest monsoon. Hero MotoCorp, I'm going with red, as sales have come in below estimates and are lower year-on-year. Total sales were below 4% estimate and are down 4% year-on-year. Total sales were at 4.98 lakh units versus 5.20 lakh units in the same month last year. Company says it's focusing on the premiumization of its product portfolio. TVS Motor sales were slightly below estimate as three-wheelers were a drag. Total sales were up 12% but are down 4% versus estimate at 3.7 lakh units. Two-wheeler sales were up 13%, while three-wheeler sales have slipped 9%. Last is Eicher Motors. Royal Enfield sales have slipped 8% year-on-year and have missed estimates by 7%. It has come in at 71,000 units versus 77,000 units in the same month last year. But commercial vehicle sales have seen an improvement and were up 10% year-on-year. So total overall sales for the month of May were mixed. Some segments have seen an improvement, while other segments have seen a moderation.
So thanks very much for that. And we'll sort of discuss each of these with our guests in a bit from now. But that's the lowdown on the auto sales numbers. But more stocks with news flow. Vamakshi is here with that list. Vamakshi, morning.
Well, good morning, Prashant. Let me first start off with Coal India. They've got an update for the month of May, and in fact, coal production at 64.4 million tons is seeing an uptick of almost 7.5% YOY. The offtake too has seen an improvement of almost 7.2% on a year-on-year basis. NMDC, on the other hand, has reported a dip of almost 37% in its total production, while the total sales are down nearly 22%. MOIL is the next counter we will be focusing on. Manganese ore prices have been hiked for the second time, and depending on the grade, prices have been hiked by 30 or 35% with effect from June 1st. Aurobindo Pharma, Tera Nim Biologics, which is a wholly owned subsidiary, and Merck Sharp and Dome, that is MSD, have signed a master service agreement with effect from May 31st. This is for expansion of the biologics manufacturing facilities of Tera Nim. They will be investing nearly 1,000 crores for establishing the manufacturing facility. Additionally, they will also be exploring the possibilities to enter into contract manufacturing operations or CMO for biologics. Apart from that, Adani Ports also in focus. Adani International Ports Holdings Private Limited has signed a concession agreement with Tanzania Ports Authorities. They will be operating as well as managing Container Terminal 2 at Dar es Salaam Port in Tanzania. Additionally, East Africa Gateway Limited, which is a JV entity, has entered into an SPA, that is a share purchase agreement, on May 31st. They will be acquiring nearly 95% stake in Tanzania International Terminal Services from Hutchison Port, and this is for an amount of almost $39.5 million. Canara Bank will be the last one we will be focusing on. The bank will be diluting nearly 14.5% stake in its arm Canara HSBC Life Insurance Company via an IPO.
Okay, all right, Vamakshi, thanks a lot for that. Well, we've done with quite a few stocks in the equity markets. But let's turn our attention to the commodity space. Manisha Gupta joins us to tell us what's going on there. Morning, Manisha.
Morning, Nigel, and thank you for that. Well, the street clearly, reacting to the China PMI data, which has expanded at the fastest pace in 2 years. The South Korea manufacturing activity has expanded at the highest in 3 years, and that is what has given support to many of these commodities, which did not end the month of May on a very strong note. I'll start with crude oil prices because after declining 7% in the previous month, we've started June on a firm note. The markets also are reacting to the OPEC and allies extending their voluntary cuts way into 2024 and even in 2025, and that has been supportive. For the metal prices as well, this has started as a good month now. We're looking at copper prices trading almost a percentage high in Asia right now. Same is the case with steel, that's trading in the positive, and iron ore prices, aluminum, all of the metals actually in Asia are trading in positive.
All right, Manisha, thanks very much for that. Bit of a turnaround once again in copper prices, and copper had seen a bit of a profit booking over the last fortnight or so. Manisha, thanks very much for that.